Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all still having a great spring break. I am here this Wednesday morning in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. It's turning out to be a gorgeous day out there. Can't wait to get out. While the kids are all still sleeping, though, I thought I'd sneak on and do my regular Wednesday video, even though it's spring break. And I have such a special treat for you today. I'm actually bringing you in kind of partway through a project that I started last night with one of the kids, and we're going to finish it up today. We've got actually the most exciting part to work on today. So we have been making little 3x3 cards using the Piece of Cake stamp set. So we've made like a little wedding gift card, a happy birthday one, and another happy birthday card. The color combo we chose was kind of an unusual one. We've gone with Lovely Lipstick, Grapefruit Grove, and Coastal Cabana as our three colors that we're going to really focus on. We've kind of accented it with some Melon Mambo and some Bermuda Bay along the way, just for those lighter and darker tones. But that is the color combo that we are working with today. So those are the three cards that we created last night. I'm going to create two more cards with you today and the pizza box and show you how that one's done, and it's so simple. I really wanted to show you the pizza box right now because a celebration's coming to an end. I know some of you are still, have your eye on certain things, but some of you probably have got pretty much all of the Sale-a-bration offerings. And so the pizza boxes is one of the new ones that they threw into the mix just a few weeks ago. And so I wanted to really show you what those are and how great they are. So you're going to get a pack of 8 pizza boxes. They are food safe, so you'll see one side is kind of matte, one side is glossy. That's the food safe side. That's going to be the inside of our pizza box. And so we're going to work on decorating the outside, and then you can either throw these little 3x3 cards in or put some little treats in. And it is food safe, so you can put a cookie in there or a couple little chocolates. A great little project there. I see there's a few of you on here. I think that's Chandra I see. Hi, nice to have you here. So we're going to get started on the box itself, and then we'll move on to creating some more of the little cards to go inside. So the box is comes folded flat, or not folded, it comes flat, but it's all scored and cut for you. And the first thing I always do is grab some tear and tape. It's the only tape I use to put these boxes together. Grab some tear and tape, and right across the flap where the hole is and everything, I'm going to put a strip of tear and tape right near the outside edge. That's kind of like the key pin to our whole box. When we fold this box and put it all together, that's going to be the last piece that we put in, and it's going to be the piece that kind of we glue down so that nothing falls apart. So job one is to kind of go through and fold all of those score marks so that your box is going to close up nicely when you're ready to close it. And again, the shiny side, although some of you may be tempted to have that nice glossy outside, the shiny side actually is the food safe side. So you do want to be putting that on the inside. So now that we have all of our pieces kind of scored or folded along the score lines, we're going to go to where we put that piece of tear and tape. We're going to fold up these sides and hold them down. Oh, actually first, sorry, we're going to take the backing off of our tear and tape. There we go. Now we're going to fold those sides in, and while holding them in place, and you'll see they kind of like go through the bottom here and notch in. So get those notched in, and then fold this piece with the tear and tape over and push down. And that's going to hold our box in place. You can make these without the tear and tape, but then I find that when you open them up, they really flop open wide. They stay together nicely when the box is closed like that, but they really flop open wide if you don't do that little bit of taping. So there you have it. Our box is actually built. So the building of the box was actually quite simple. If you had wanted to do some stamping on this box before you glued it together, you absolutely could have done that. I've done a few of them where I've stamped the whole box. You can also just tie a ribbon around this. What we're going to do is decorate the top of this card. or top of this box. So I have a piece of Melon Mambo here cut at 3 1/8. I have a piece of In Color Designer Series paper cut at 3 by 3. And we're actually going to start right off the bat by gluing those two together. So grab my lovely green lid glue. Love this liquid glue. And put some on the back there. Wipe off the extra. All right. There we have it. So that's all glued together. And then I'm going to glue this right to the top of my pizza box. Some people like to do all of their designing on these first and then glue kind of the finished product to the box. But I'm pretty confident in what I'm creating here today. Kaylee and I talked about it quite a bit last night, so here we go. All right, so with that created, I'll just put that up to the side, and I'm going to show you the trick to stamping these cakes and using the builder punch with them. So I'm going to grab both my cake base and the cake I want for the top, and I'm actually going to stick them both onto the same block. So I need to have kind of a larger block here. There we go. And then I might have to make a new one because I don't see it right now on my desk. I have already created a template for punching this one out. And then I just keep it. Oh, here it is. So I've already taken the punch on a piece of cardstock and I've punched that image out. So I just went in there, punched it out on a bright colored cardstock, and I keep this in my Stamparatus case. You can also just use it with a block, which is what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to take my template that I punched out, and I'm going to lay my two stamps into the spaces that were made by that punch. Now with them in those spaces, I now know that they're going to line up with my punch. Oh, just a second. Am I? Oh no, I'm on the screen. Okay, there we go. So with those lined up in the spaces created by my punch, I'm going to take my block and I'm going to pick up those two images with my block. Now I know that those are going to punch perfectly when I go to cut them out. So we're all set with that. I'm going to grab an extra piece of white paper here. So I just got some white scraps lying around. And I'm going to take some Memento ink and stamp my cake. And it's going to kind of look funny because, of course, my cake is upside down on my stand. All right, so, and I'm just going to take a quick look at which way, yeah, so the cake goes on the bottom with this punch. So you see here when we slide it in, the cake will be on the bottom. So that's how I'm going to stamp it as well, so that I use up the most of my paper. I don't have any wasted paper on here. Good morning, Alice. All right, so now that that's stamped, you could punch it out right away. I personally find that it's easier to do our coloring though while it's still on a bigger piece of paper. So I do have my blends here, and we're going to do a little bit of coloring. Excuse me if I get my hair into the video or anything. I forgot to put it back in an elastic, and I am going to be coming in a little bit closer to do this coloring, just so that I stay inside the lines. Now these are blends. So I'm not going to color in too much on my first go because these will bleed, and I don't want it to go outside of the lines. So I just used the fine tip on the dark smoky slate blend pen. Now I'm going to use the fine tip on the light smoky slate. And this time I'm going to come in and I'm going to blend that dark piece in with the light. So I'm going to kind of go over what I've already colored. Same with here. I'm going to use kind of some circular motions to kind of blend that out, draw it out, so that where I did the dark line blends in with the new light that I'm using. All right. And on this particular one, if it bleeds, it's not too much of a deal because when we punch this out, it does punch it quite close to the edges, but I still try to stay a little bit away from the edges so I don't get too much bleeding happening. There we go. So our cake stand is colored in using that smoky slate. And now I'm going to use the light Bermuda Bay. Oh, excuse me, I think I'm going to sneeze. Oh. No, it's gone. All right, sorry about that. So I'm going to use the light Bermuda Bay and come along. Now, if you find that that's too dark for your liking, I do find that the dark Pool Party goes quite well with the light Bermuda Bay. It's just a slightly lighter version. So I love that the Pool Party, the Coastal Cabana, and the Bermuda Bay complement each other so well. All right, so with that done, I'm going to move into using the fine tip of my light Lovely lipstick. And I'm just going to color in all of the stripes on here. And again, staying kind of away from the edge. Now you'll notice for this cake, I'm not worrying too much about shading. It's a cake. Icing's pretty uniform in color. I'm hoping there's no big shadows on my cake. So I'm just going straight in. I also find that the dark Lovely lipstick is very, very dark and not the look I'm going for on the front of this card, where I haven't used any Lovely lipstick. I've used the Bermuda Bay for the outline, and I do find that the light Lovely lipstick blend is much more like, oh sorry, did I say Bermuda Bay? I meant, Melon Mambo. There we go. So, yeah, the light Lovely lipstick blend is very much like Melon Mambo, so I've just used that one. All right, we can move those off to the side for now because we're not going to be using them till our next little card that we're going to put inside. And now it is time to punch this out. And so, as you can see, it just lines up so beautifully. There we go. And we have our cake ready to assemble. Now, I do want to put a cake topper on this, and I'm going to be, oops, that's upside down. All right, like that. So I do want to put a cake topper on here, and I'm going to use the little lollipops. And now I did pre-stamp a whole bunch of little cake toppers. That way, as I was going along, I could just pick and choose and cut out what I wanted. So I had those pulled out earlier in the day. So I'm going to grab my light Bermuda Bay again, and I'm going to color the sticks in on a couple of these lollipops. There we go. And I'm going to grab my light, it is light, right? Yeah, light Lovely lipstick again. And I'm going to go in and just color in those lollipops. Now I'm going to do them in a pink and white pattern. So I'm just going to kind of go along and color in every second one. And here we go. And it creates just kind of like a little fun candy topper for this cake. All right. There. So with that all done, I'm going to grab my snips, and I'm not going to try and be super finicky and cut out the insides of those lollipops. I am just going to cut around the outside of this. And notice I kept a little piece here at the bottom that I'm not going to cut off. That's going to be the piece that I use to attach this to my cake. So that gives me a little spot to glue behind the top of my cake so that these look like they're sitting right on the cake. All right, so use my snips here. Go around. So if you don't have a pair of snips, I was actually just talking with one of my downline last night about these snips, and you know, scissors are great, but snips are fabulous for this kind of finicky cutting. That you can just get into so many smaller places and really get the job done. There, so beautiful. That's done. I can put that to the side for now. And now we're going to put our whole cake together, and I'm going to use some mini glue dots to do this. So grab my glue dots. I'm actually going to put a glue dot on the front of these lollipops. That way I can tuck them in behind my cake. And then I'm going to put 2 mini glue dots down here at the bottom of my cake so that I can use that to attach to my cake stand. And oh, that one's sticking out a bit. I'll just roll it back. I'm going to put that on the front of the cake stand. Some people I know put it like so it's sitting on top of the cake stand, or a little bit behind, but I like that just sitting in front. So move that off to the side. And now I'm going to grab some dimensionals to put this onto, oh, actually, no, I'm not. Sorry. I wanted to tie a little bit of ribbon around there first, or not ribbon, but some twine. So I have some white baker's twine here. This just actually happens to be some leftover twine from one of my paper pumpkin kits. So let's see, to be able to tie a bow, I'm going to need a fair amount. And, you know, I have so much of this twine left over. I've actually completed this kit. This is how much twine I have left over. So I'm not too worried about being, you know, stingy with it. I'm going to give myself a nice big long chunk of thread to work with here because I do not want to be fiddling with something too small. And I'm going to tie a bow with this all doubled up. So it's going to be actually a double bow. I'm going to tie a bow with this around the cake stand. Oops. So there we go. I've got my first knot. And you'll notice this end is still attached. I really don't care at this point. I just wanted lots to work with, and then I'll snip that off after the fact. So my 2 little bunny ears. Wrap that around. There we go. And now I will shorten up these threads. There we go. I do like the look of the double bow with the twine. This cake is pretty bold, and so to do a single string of twine, it just kind of would have gotten lost on this cake. All right, so now I've got some extra that I can use on some of our other cards coming up. And we have a cake that is ready to go on to our card front. So I'm going to put some dimensionals here. I'm going to overlap a dimensional where the cake and the cake stand met and where the lollipops and the cake met. Oh, got some hair there. And then I'm going to really overdo this one. I'm going to do another mini dimensional up where the lollipops are and a mini dimensional down at the bottom at the cake stand base. So peel those off. Come on. There we go. That one's peeled off now. And I will attach this a little bit high up because I'm going to put a sentiment down at the bottom along here and then some bling into this space. So I need now a piece of paper to stamp our sentiments. I'm going to grab that same paper that I cut the cake out of. And I have already mounted the Happy Birthday You Sweet Thing. Good morning, Val. Nice to see you. All right, so let's grab some black ink. And we'll get in here. This. There we go. So our sentiment is stamped. And now I'm going to use, oh, I can never remember the name of this punch. I think it's called an everyday label. It's just a really clean, simple label punch. Just love it. So we'll line that up in there, give that a squeeze. And now I'm going to grab some dimensionals to put this onto my card front. So some mini ones again. They fit perfectly on the back of this. I'm just going to do one on each end. I know, I am so happy that the Cake Builder is back in stock. It was the first stamp set I bought out of the New Occasions catalog, and then it sold out, and I was so disappointed. So I'm very excited that it's back in stock and that I'm going to be able to show you guys some videos and that you'll actually be able to grab this beautiful cake for yourselves as well. So there, we've got our Happy Birthday Sweet Thing. And now I think we could do, and actually I think we will, we're going to use our glitter enamel dots. So I was going to do something a little more subtle and just do some rhinestones on there, but I think, you know, this is the front of our box that all of our cards are in. It deserves a little bit of something brighter. And so then I have, Kaylee was so excited when she saw me using this last night. Because she struggled so much at our last card class getting rhinestones and stuff off of the sheets and onto her cards. She was so excited to see that I finally have this pick a tool. So there we go. And I'm actually going to line these up over top of some of the existing dots, just so that it doesn't kind of throw off the symmetry that they already have going on in this pattern. And let's see, a medium-sized one maybe. All right. Oh, these ones are still slippery even with the tool. I don't know. There. All right, so we've got some glimmer enamel dots going on there. Super fun. And that is our card box front created. So now these cards that I'm creating, I actually just scored them myself. To create the cards to go inside, I took just a sheet of thick Whisper white paper. You could use any color cardstock though. And I cut it at 6 by 3, and then I scored it at 3 inches. So it just ends up making a 3 by 3 card. And then you can include those in your little mini box just as is, because lots of people like to put those on the tops of gifts and really show it off. But if you are looking, you know, maybe to put into a flower arrangement or something where you want an envelope, we do sell the little I believe they're 3 1/4 inch by 3 1/4 inch. They do perfectly fit a 3 by 3 card inside. So I'm actually going to grab 1, 2, 3. Let's see, I gotta grab another package here. All right, 4, 5. So I'm gonna grab 5 of those little mini envelopes, and I'm gonna tuck them into the bottom of my box. You could decorate these as well. You could take some DSP and put it on the envelope flaps. So I'm going to throw that in there, and then we'll put some of the cards that we created into this box. And I do find that 4 or 5 cards fit very nicely into one of these boxes, and then you can seal it up. So now, as you know, I've only shown you 3 of the cards, so we are going to create the last 2 cards to go into that box. And actually, I'll just leave that right there so you can see that. So we're going to create 2 of the cards now. So I've got 2 pieces of paper already prepped here, cut at 6 by 3 inches and scored at 3. And let's see. Where did all my bits go? So that you don't have to watch me color cake stands and stamp again, because you've seen the trick on how to do that cake. I already have these ones kind of prepped. I am going to try and decide right now on some coloring for that cake top. I do think I'm going to end up going with some Bermuda Bay, but I'm going to think about it. Maybe if you guys want to chime in what color cake you think that should be. While I put some Bermuda Bay ribbon onto this lovely lipstick background and glue it all together. Some of my color choices, I was thinking maybe the pool party, maybe the lovely lipstick light, or even kind of going a little crazy and introducing a new color and putting in some Highland Heather into there. I do think that the Bermuda Bay lovely lipstick and Highland Heather makes a really fun color combo as well. Of course, I could also go with the Grapefruit Grove. The light Calypso Coral blend looks a lot like the Grapefruit Grove. You think a lovely lipstick cake on top of the lovely lipstick paper? Yeah, that could be. Let's grab a little scrap here. I always like to kind of test it because the colors in the blends are true-ish, but not super true. So doing a red cake on the red background, and it is going to pop out and have the little white border, so that actually could work out really well. All right. So let's continue getting our background going here. So I've got 2 little snippets of Bermuda Bay. I'd actually cut them for another card and then never ended up using them. So these 3 by 3 cards are great for using up your little scraps. So this is the mini striped ribbon in Bermuda Bay. Just absolutely love it. And yeah, so I'm just going to use up some of my scraps from another project on this one. So I am going to grab some mini glue dots again. And this is a little trick when you're working with scraps. You don't need to have a full piece of ribbon to wrap around. In fact, when I first started stamping, I never did wraparound bows. I could not get my head around how to get the tension and get it tied and everything. So this is how I did all bows when I first started crafting. So you take that piece with some mini glue dots. You could put an extra one in the front if you wanted to make it a little more sturdy. And then you take another scrap, tuck it under. And this works particularly well for thicker ribbons, not so well with really thin ribbons. But with the thicker the ribbon, the better this one works. You take your little scrap, tie a knot, and voila, just trim up your ends, and you are done. People think that you struggled and tied that and got it so nice and tight, when in fact, you just used some glue dots. Oof, that was a horrible cut. All right, let's get some tension on there so that I can really cut that. Ah. Yeah, and I love it for the using up the scraps part now, but you know, for anybody who is kind of challenged with the tying of the bows, which I know I was and still am some days, this is a great little trick. All right, so with that all trimmed up, we'll move those out of the way. And now, Valerie, you said nope to the lovely lipstick on lovely lipstick. So let's see what we can get going on here. That might be too much color added in. All right. So I'm going to be really cautious, and I'm going to start with my dark Pool Party, and because it's a really easy one to cover up if I don't like it, and go over it with another color. So I'm going to go in here, and so you'll see that the Pool Party goes quite nicely with that Bermuda Bay ribbon. And so yeah, I'm thinking that I'm going to do that for this cake, and that I might come in and do a little bit of extra shading with the darker, well, the light Bermuda Bay. All right, come in here with this one, and yeah, actually that's quite nice. So I'm going to maybe do a two-tone cake, do the dark bottom and the light top. There we go. I love it. Okay, so the two-tone cake, and then we're going to add a little bit more color to it, don't worry, because we're going to add some candles to the top of this birthday cake, because it's not really a birthday cake without those candles. So somewhere, there we go, I have some candles stamped, and this, Val, I think is where I will throw in a little bit more of the lovely lipstick, because those lovely lipstick candles are going to have a white background around them, so they are really going to pop. And so we're going to do some lovely lipstick candles. And I do have some Daffodil Delight to do our candle tops in, our little flames. There we go. So get that. And now, again, I am not cutting out all these little candles. That is just ridiculous. So I am going to just, again, leave this little strip at the bottom so I have something to glue to get it attached. I'm going to run up the outside of this candle. If you wanted to leave a little bit of a space there, you could just kind of make it more uniform with the space that's going to be between each of the candles, but I kind of didn't want that for this card. I wanted the only white to be between the candles. All right, here we go. And get around the edges there and down the side. All right, so we've got our candles cut out now and ready to attach everything to this birthday cake. So again, I'm going to grab some mini glue dots and put them right on the front of these candles and attach those to the back of our cake. Now, when you are working with small pieces like this, do make sure that when you put it all together, it's not going to be too tall for your card. So it looks like I'm going to be just fine here. So I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of this cake now so that I can attach it to my cake stand, just like I did before. That's attached. Now I'm going to grab some dimensionals, and this is all kind of deja vu, except that I don't need so many of those little mini ones this time because those candles give me a nice big spot to work with. So I can do kind of just 2 and 1 at the bottom. There we go. So we'll attach this to our card front, and I think for this particular card I am going to go with kind of a more traditional, just a rhinestone bling on it. I think adding any more color pieces to this would just make it a little too overwhelming. And we can pull that ribbon out so it kind of comes over top of our cake. There we go. Grab some rhinestones and my tool. And again, I am going to line these up over top of where we already have dots. I just think it would really throw off the pattern to put these in spots where there weren't already dots. Okay, so there you have it. There is our little card front, and now we're going to grab some of our green glue and put this onto the front of one of our 3x3 cards that we already created. So, oh, I can hear life occurring in the house now. Kids are starting to wake up. All right, come crashing down the stairs. There we go. All right, so one more card created for our little pizza box. And we have a final card to add into the mix here. Oops, they're all sticking. There we go. All right, so tuck that away into our pizza box, and we will create our 5th card here, 5th and final card. So I'm going to do a Coastal Cabana background. Put the lid on my glue for now so I don't get glue everywhere. So Coastal Cabana background on our little card, and then I should have some more pieces of, oh yeah, there we go. So I have another piece of DSP cut up. This is in the lovely lipstick and with the white dot side. I love that side, so solid. Here's a little cake stand, and I've already gone through the trouble of tying that little bow on there. So we're just going to color up our cake. Beautiful, beautiful cake here. And we're also going to put a little flower topper on there. So for this one, I am going to move into using the light Calypso Coral to make the color combo here, the lovely lipstick, the Grapefruit Grove really, and the Coastal Cabana. And I'm going to color in my flowers kind of in a mix using the small end on here. I might even grab the yellow for the centers of some of these flowers and some green to get in there and do the leaves. So this card's going to have a lot more color, but it is also a lot more of a subtle color because it's these itty bitty beautiful little flowers. All right. In fact, I may use both the light and the dark lovely lipstick on this card. So come in here right now with the light. And then I think those last little flowers, I am really going to pop them out using the dark lovely lipstick. There we go. So many little bits there. All right. So those flowers colored in with that. I'm going to move these Island Heather out of the way. I'm not going to be using those today. I am going to grab some yellow and some green and introduce some colors that we haven't used yet on any of our cards. So do the centers of those flowers in the yellow. Oh, I guess I should have been working on my flower topper at the same time. There we go. And now I'm just going to double check this green to make sure that it's not going to be too out of this world. You know, I might actually just stick with some Bermuda Bay leaves. It's kind of not a traditional color for a leaf, but I'm feeling like I'm getting too many colors going on in here. So we're going to do some Bermuda Bay leaves. It'll all be good. There we go. A little bluish green. Yes, it's kind of like eucalyptus leaves. Those are bluish green. There we go. Yeah, I think that's a nicer color combo, just to not add too many colors into the mix here. So I'm going to go through and do all my leaves up here right now while I've got this out. That looks like everything for up there. I've already done those. Move that out of my way. All right, grab this. And don't worry, I'm going to come back to that cake and do some of the trim on there as well. Just kind of trying to decide which flowers are which here. All right, use some lighter stuff. This cake top there. One's going to be a lighter flower. And actually, I'm going to do that one as a lighter one as well. We're just going to have one dark flower on the top here. You don't want to overwhelm the cake topper. There. All right. Oh, and now our trim. And I think I will do our trim in the dark because I want it to match up with the background on the card. So we're going to use the darker Lovely lipstick. Just gorgeous. Oh, and the top. There we go. That might have looked really nice in Bermuda Bay as well, now that I'm kind of looking at it. But whatever, we're done. There's always another card. So now I need my snips. And I'm going to get in here and cut off this topper. And the snips are just so great for this. They get into all the little nooks and crannies. Okay. Ah, come on. Here we go. Get that off to the side. And just about done. So this is where the tips of the snips come in really handy. I'm actually going to trim all of that off. And to get into all these little bits, instead of trying to kind of cut around the whole thing, I just go in and snip and then cut across between the two parts that I snipped. So always cutting inward when you're doing this kind of stuff is going to get you those crisp corners on the inside. There we go. All right, cake topper done. Oh, now I should have probably left a little bit so that I can glue that on, but oh, that's okay, Val. You can always, you know, catch it a little bit later, and glad you had a little chat with your granddaughter. That's awesome. You know, now I'm looking at that, and that cake topper looks so busy with those flowers on the top. I think that I'm going to switch that out. After all that hard work, I'll save that for another card. I am going to do just a quick and simple heart on the top of this card. Just so many flowers just made it a little too busy. There's another cake in the set that's very plain, that flower top's going to look great on. So no worries, because I'm going to be making a few of these pizza boxes, and they're all going to be different. I just kind of go with the flow as I'm creating the cakes and see what inspires me and what's laying around on my desk. So here we go. Now it's the time to put all of this together again. This is our last one. And we're going to put those glue dots on the back. Pop that cake onto the base that we've already made. And pop that heart onto the top of our card. There we go. All right. Yeah, I think that looks better with the heart on the top, just a little more simple. So now, oh, I forgot to glue these pieces together, so let's grab some glue. I'm going to glue these pieces together. Thank you, Val. So do your granddaughters live up on the coast with you, or are they kind of far away? Or granddaughter, sorry. go. So the last thing I'm going to do for this card is put a little sentiment on here. And then I also wanted to point out to you that the cake bundle is back in stock. And so if you actually order the cake bundle, some white twine, and some of this DSP, that qualifies you for an order that will get you a Sale-a-bration product. Oh, wow, Val, 4 grandgirls in town. That's awesome. Yeah, so the DSP, the white twine, and the cake builder stamp set and punch is a $60 value, $61.25, I believe. And so that actually earns you a free Sale-a-bration item. And these pizza boxes are one of the available items. So these are just such a sweet little project that you can create. And of course you can create other big cards and stuff with the cake builder. Yeah, just a great deal. There's only, I believe, 4 days left in Sale-a-bration. Oh my gosh, that's scary. 4 days left in Sale-a-bration to earn free stuff when you place your orders. So you definitely don't want to be missing out on that. Oh wow, a trip to Cuba. That's awesome. Was she old enough to be traveling on her own, or was it a school trip or something? And now the last thing is this sentiment. I'm going to grab my stamp set. I left it somewhere. And I am going to use Cut the Cake. I kind of thought that one was, you know, a little bit generic enough that this could end up being a birthday card. It could end up being a wedding card, like just to attach onto the gift and whatnot. And so I always lay mine down, try and kind of make sure they're straight, use the grid paper, and then put the block to them when I'm doing words, just so that, you know, I make sure that they're totally straight. And I'm going to grab my black again. It's kind of a busy card front with that pattern, so I am going to use black so that the sentiment really stands out. So there's our Cut the Cake sentiment. And grab that Everyday Punch again. And I am going to cut this one just a little bit closer so it's kind of off center, because when I put this onto my card front, I'm going to tuck it behind my cake stand, and I'm actually going to snip a little piece of it off. So I'm just going to kind of come in here and see how much of it I want to snip off. Okay, quite far over. There we go. And now make sure that that's going to fit in there. Not quite. Okay. I need to just snip a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Now that's going to stay on our card front. And I'm not going to pop that one up. I'm just going to take a little string of my liquid glue here. Doesn't take much, just a little strip along the back. That's going to allow me to really slide it in and position it, instead of like if I use tear and tape or something that's going to grab the cardstock and not going to get it to where I want it. So there we are. Cut the cake. And of course, some bling. Can't be done without the bling. And actually, I think I'm going to add some double bling to this card, because I think I'm going to Wink a Stella that heart to make it really stand out. All right. Oh, come on. Even with this, I'm having trouble this morning. Oh, my goodness. All right. And one more. There we go. And grab my Wink of Stella and just glitter up that heart a bit. There we go. Could have done that to my birthday candles as well. In fact, I think I might go back and put some Wink of Stella onto those candles. So there's our final card all done. So here, let me just pull these out and we'll show you the complete set here. So with these all finished, we've got this gorgeous little pizza box. Oh. And then, oh, there's another heart I can Wink a Stella. So there we go. There are oops, all of the cards for inside this little pizza box. So I am creating these little cards as I get ready for a craft sale. Actually, this Saturday from 10 to 4, I'm going to be at St. Paul's Lutheran Church on Lady Drive in, is it Lady Drive or Lady Street? Lady Street in Maple Ridge. Big spring extravaganza going on there. So I'm going to be selling these at that event. I've got little pizza boxes made up with cactuses and bunny rabbits and all sorts of stuff, different occasions. So if you're in town and want to stop by, it's called the Spring Market Extravaganza, and you can find out more information about that on my site. And I hope you enjoyed watching this and have some fun creating your own little pizza box 3x3 cards. They're just a great little gift to give to somebody. Somebody invites you over for dinner. It's a little thank you to the hostess. I use them in my card classes as thank you to my hostesses. And yeah, they're just a lot of fun. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget that Sale-a-bration ends soon. You can use this hostess code if you want to go online and place an order. Or you can give me a call to place an order yourself. And I think that's about it. I'll see you all next Wednesday. Hopefully I survive till Wednesday. School goes back on Monday, and I've really gotten used to this spring break. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your spring break, and we'll see you all next Wednesday. Bye-bye.